Good afternoon, REA. I'm happy to report in celebration of this Labor Day weekend that REA and Rochester Public Schools have reached a tentative agreement on a new master contract. I'm here to provide you with the details of the agreement. First, I want to give a heartfelt thank you to our REA negotiations team, Thomas Brown, Jake Johnson, Sarah Lopez, Chris Reed, Carrie Sparks, and Kurt Rock. These folks gave up a majority of their summer to complete negotiations, and I think I speak for all of us when I say we're happy to return a tentative agreement this early in the year. Issue number one was sixth grade teacher assignment. Licensed teachers for sixth grade can transfer into sixth grade positions. There was a problem with this last year. We will summarize the current process at Meet and Confer, and the district will share with principals and the central office. Issue number two was contract cleanup. There were many examples of date adjustments, grammar corrections, and movement of language to a more appropriate place. There were no substantial changes in the language to that cleanup. Issue number three was shortage area teachers and special education. We have an MOA that will give setting 3 and 4 special education teachers and LSNs a $3,000 annual stipend to assist with recruitment and retention. Also for special ed teachers, we have modified the language in Article 39.1J to allow due process time to be used outside of the duty day, meaning evenings and weekends, paid at the sub-teacher rate of pay. These can be used in half-day or full-day increments. Issue number four, dual credit classes. The district has an interest in expanding CIS in our schools, and with an attempt to keep students in the building instead of going to PSEO. So in that light, they will cover the cost of up to 3 people to get a master's degree in their content area, or 18 graduate credits in the content area if they already have a master's degree. There will be an application process for this. If you know of a CIS class that is in your area and you're interested in pursuing eligibility to teach that class, you should apply for this. Issue number 5 had to do with lane changes. We have an MOA that clarifies the district expectations for graduate courses to be approved for a lane change. We're also creating a joint committee to review any courses in which there's a point of contention between REA and the district. And most importantly, this MOA will allow 10 NEA micro-credentials earned between September 1st of 2025 and June 30th of 2027 to be used for a lane change at a rate of 1 micro-credential equals 1 credit. This is huge. We listened to you when you told us it's too expensive to get a lane change. I can't pay for master's courses. NEA micro-credentials are free for members. This means during the course of the next 2 years, you will be able to achieve a lane change at 0 cost to you. Also, this is a committee opportunity for the course review committee. If this is something you're interested in serving on, please let me know. Issue number 6, compensation. We agreed to $22,176,059 of improvements in the cost of teachers. That represents 9.92% total package. The salary schedule improvement will be 1.5% in 25-26 and 2.3% in 26-27. Those increases accounted for 3.41% of the total package. The settlement includes steps and lanes both years. That accounts for 2.86% of the total package. And I want to be perfectly clear here. Under our old contract, steps didn't mean a lot for a lot of people because just about everybody was at the bottom of a lane, certainly more than half. They do now. For example, if you make $80,000 a year, your raise isn't 1.5% and 2.3%. It's more like 2.5% and 3.3%. That step is worth between $800 and $1,600, depending on which step you're on. We agreed to stipends for LSNs and setting 3 and 4 SPED teachers at a cost of 0.44% of the 9.92% total package. There is no change to health insurance. The district will continue to pay their percentage of any increases in cost to health insurance. That was 2.2% of the total package. So come January, when insurance rates undoubtedly go up, the increase for you will be minimal. TRA increased its payroll tax, and in addition, there is now Minnesota paid family medical leave taxes. Those two increases were 1.01% of the 9.92% total package. And finally, an MOA agreeing to teacher bonuses or longevity payments if the district's unallocated reserve increases. I'm going to give you more about that on the next page. For as long as we can remember, the district has told us there isn't any more money for raises. And then the very next year, the unallocated reserve increases. For the upcoming 2 district audits in November of 2026 and November of 2027, teachers will share in the increases in the unallocated reserve. Specifically, for any increases in the unassigned fund balance that exceeds 12% of the overall budget, teachers will receive 35% of the increase as a longevity payment. As an example, had this MOA been in place during calendar year 2024, this payment would have been approximately $1,600 per FTE. Here are some specific examples for certain cells. I want to highlight EDS step 20 because we have a large percentage of our members in that step. That's the bottom middle one. Your 2024 salary is $89,227. Your 2026 salary will be $94,328, an increase of $5,101 over the 2 years. If you want to look at some of the other specific ones I did, feel free to pause the video and look. I will have the complete salary schedule coming soon. Issue 7 was teacher subbing for a teacher. We want our teachers who are covering for their colleagues to be paid the same rate as the daily sub. Currently, they weren't. So we've amended the language so that daily sub rate is now divided by 5.5 instead of your contracted 7.25 hours. Issue number 8 was the 403B match. In the second year of the contract, 26-27, the 403B matching contribution from the district will increase from $1,008 a year to 2% of your salary from Appendix A. So again, the bottom middle is EDS step 20, using that as an example. Your current 403B match is $1,008. Your 2026 match will be $1,887, an increase of $879 over the biennium. And I want to point out that this is a benefit largely for our more senior teachers. We have 941 teachers out of the 1,450 employed that are currently taking advantage of the 403B match. Almost all of the 941 teachers that are doing this are veteran teachers, which raises another point. For new teachers, please take advantage of the 403B match. Even if you don't intend to stay in the district your whole career, you take that with you. It's your money for retirement. And the miracle of compound interest only works if you have a lot of time for that interest to compound. So please take advantage of this match. If you don't, you're leaving money on the table. Issue number 9 was teacher retirement, specifically the gap years between retirement and eligibility for Medicare. We're very concerned that our married to family teachers and our single teachers don't have the ability to pay for health care with the current pension plan. We were not able to reach agreement on this issue, and it's not included in the TA. But both myself and the superintendent have committed to returning to this issue in our next round of negotiations. Issue number 10 was meetings. We had a change in our language in Article 39.1K. Previously, only elementary teachers were limited to 6 committee meetings during their morning planning time. We struck the word morning because planning time isn't in the morning anymore. And we also struck in elementary buildings so that all teachers are included. This means secondary teachers also have that 6 meeting per month limitation. Issue number 11 is transfers. There will be a new transfer process next spring. Teachers will have a 2-week window to apply for transfer, and they may list prioritized positions that they'd like to transfer into. It also allows the district to post prior to the transfer, to post externally positions which were not transferred into the previous year. This will allow a larger pool of candidates and hopefully fewer unfilled positions. As we all know, unfilled positions result in increased workload for teachers. So we have as much interest in making sure there are no unfilled positions as the district. Issue number 12 is leave provisions. We explored options for selling back sick leave or personal leave. We couldn't come to agreement on that, but we did agree to a labor management committee to study PTO. The PTO will be charged with some very specific things. If PTO is something you're interested in, this is another committee opportunity. Please contact me if you're interested in serving our members in this capacity. Issue 13 updated the pilot proposal language. If you're interested in reading that, you can feel free to pause the video here. I won't read it to you. Issue 14 was class size. First and foremost, it extended our current elementary class size MOA until June 30th of 2027. And it added the option of adding 2 ASPs or a shared teacher in 2 classrooms in place of another teacher by mutual agreement between the grade level team, REA, and the district. So if you have a grade level team of 3 in your building and you're all over the cap, by mutual agreement between you 3, REA, and the district, you could add 2 shared ESPs to your team instead of adding another classroom teacher. If that's not something you want to do, if you want the overage pay or if you want another teacher, that's an option. Issue 14 class size also forms a labor management committee to consider class size at all levels and to research other models around the state. If class size is something you're passionate in, this is another committee opportunity. Please contact me if you're interested in serving in this role. Issue 15 is staff development chair compensation. This is Appendix C in our contract, and it hasn't been updated since 2003, so it was time for an overhaul. Although the value of the stipends didn't change much, we did change how it was framed. It's no longer high school, middle school, elementary. It goes strictly by the teacher FTE in the building. And again, just to be clear, this should be teacher FTE in the building. Voting will once again be done electronically using Election Runner. Each member will receive an email at their school email address to vote. It's a very simple process that takes about 10 seconds. If you haven't received that email by the morning of September 11th, please email myself or Christy Sanders. Here are the timelines. Next Wednesday, September 3rd, the executive board will meet. Thursday, September 4th, there will be an emergency faculty rep assembly, which will be virtual. And then we'll have all member question and answers at multiple dates leading up to the ratification vote, which will be held September 11th, 8 a.m. until Monday, September 15th, 4 p.m. Once again, I would like to thank the negotiations team and thank the RPS negotiators for their collaboration. Our negotiations team basically sacrificed their summer to deliver this tentative agreement. Please thank them when you see them. And I hope you have a great day.